Okay, last time I was reading Isom number 3, we left off with Isom going to Projexis to have himself a little conversation. And now we're going to pick up in the next scene. We jump scene to this place called the Sully Ward. And you have these two patrol officers at this Sully Ward, looks like some kind of prison, walking around. And you know, when you open a scene with that, something very interesting, even bad, is about to go down. So one of them says, "It's been a rather quiet week. Not a fan." Now, you open a statement with "it's been a rather quiet week," or you make reference to the fact that nothing has really been going on. Yeah, you're asking for troubles saying something like that. This is definitely, let's just say, not good. Not good. You should have kept that to yourself. One of those things where it's like, hey, bro, did you really have to say that? Speak for yourself. This is easy money for me, but you're right. Something is brewing. Who's our special agent on duty tonight? Max Saliant, I believe. What is that? So they knew something was going to happen. He knew when he said it. He was like, yeah, it's been unusually quiet. So because I know it's been unusually quiet, who do we have on staff today, special agent, over all of this? So you see something stab into one of the patrolman's chest, and then he's yanked away, and one yells, "Cold blue, cold blue." And they're firing at this dark purple-like figure. And then you open up the scene, and it's a beastly looking monstrosity. Looks like something out of Jurassic Park. And he's just swatting at them, getting them up out of here. Now, clearly, they're familiar with this beast because from one of the Humvees that pulls up, they yell out, "Leprido, stand down." Now, ridiculous names like this, I love in comic books because as ridiculous as the name is, it is a name that will grow on you as the character moves through certain books, if the character survives this one. And it becomes like one of those synonymous names, right? Like Dr. Octopus. I imagine if we had read Spider-Man comic books way back in the day and we saw Dr. Octopus for the first time, it'd be like, Doctor what? This is kind of corny, but it grows on you. So they yell from the Humvee, "I repeat, stand down. We will use lethal force." I don't think this guy cares about lethal force. And now he's running at them and they say, "Stop." So he completely, absolutely pummels this Humvee. This just shows you the power of this Leprido. He's clearly not something to be trifled with. And then he says, "You knew that I would return. Now give me what I want." So they clearly know why he's there. You see him reach out his tongue and grab this Humvee. That's crazy. Whatever he was imbued with, whatever powers he was given, however he got these powers, this is something crazy. So a helicopter shows up and you see some troops speaking from the helicopter. "We got our sights on the suspect. Where's the special agent?" And then you see him straight toss the Humvee at the helicopter and straight up destroy this thing. One of the helicopter pilots yells, "Abort." Well, too late for that. It's already done. It's already a wrap. You should have thought about that beforehand and probably given yourself some space. That is, if they are familiar with what this guy can do, and it seems like they are. And so now this special agent shows up on the scene and clearly looks like he's an except ready to, go to toe. "Rough landing. You're lucky to be alive. Neutralize the threat." Salient, so they know each other. You see Leprido call out his name. "So they're calling you Leprido these days. Stupid name if you ask me." I always love comic books that can make fun of themselves, recognizing that, yeah, this name is kind of silly, But that's the whole point. Silly names typically take off and make it in comic books because it's so silly that it remains something in your brain and you almost can't forget about this, Leprido. Such a sellout you are. You dare to protect the place that caused us such strife? Speak for yourself. It was a prison to you. For me, it was therapy. Now you know you're either sadistic or the other person is seeing things wrong. If they see it as a prison and you see it as therapy, that's crazy work right there. Shut up. You know that I could easily kill you. You could try. So clearly he's confident, and it looks like Leprido really doesn't necessarily want that smoke, or he got what he came for. You're as stupid as you are naive. Be thankful that you didn't get here sooner. Huh? And Leprido jumps off. We need assistance toward the back. He's already out of there. He is up and gone. And now you fast forward to Avery at Projexis having himself a conversation. Nice to finally meet you, Mr. Silman. Thanks for coming out. I got into a bit of an accident not too long ago, so do excuse the appearance. I don't get out here much, so it was nice to have an excuse to catch up. By the way, your sister and niece are doing well at our other campus. My best men are watching over them. Thanks. Let me first apologize for being a little dismissive the other day. I appreciate everything that you're doing for Altona, because Altona obviously works for Projexis. Something tells me there's more to Projexis than meets the eye, and not necessarily in a good way. I am not sure that everything going on at Projexis is on the up and up. This is something that I've been thinking about ever since that I think it was the second Isom book. No, it might have actually been one of the Yaira books that kind of got me thinking this, that something is not on the up and up about this place. But maybe I'm just, looking into this too much. All is good. She said that you knew how to handle yourself, Mr. Silman. Your sister has played such a pivotal role in the growth of Projexis. She's family. I've brought a war to your door. You shouldn't have to do this. So Avery feels like it's his fault that all this is going on. I don't see it that way. A conflict between Fontaino and I was inevitable. I sent him off with something he won't forget. Anyway, Altona filled me in, but I feel like there's more information to gather. You're correct. I went to Merc twice. I caused a bit of a scene and even bested his except. I admit that was foolish of me. Now the reaction makes sense. He couldn't afford to leave it be. You're lucky to be alive. Did you happen to speak with Jasmine? I didn't know much about the girl. So Jasmine, obviously, the whole reason all of this started was because Avery went to find out about Jasmine on request by Altona, because she was like, look, I don't know what's going on with her. She's involved in something, wrapped up in something, and I need you to go check on her. So Avery went to do just that. But that turned out to be not necessarily a mistake, but that it opened a whole nother can of worms with Fontaino. I saw her briefly, but she ran off. I think she's caught up in Darren's clique. I'm no detective, but I don't think she has much of a choice. So he thinks. I'd like to get a better understanding because her mother is worried sick. On the other hand, he wants to get to me. You have more pull and wealth than he does, so I doubt he'll handle you the same way. You're not entirely wrong, but you're not entirely right either. Sure, I have resources, but I think you're underestimating his reach. He's involved in more than you can even begin to imagine. And this tells me that he understands more about Fontaino than than Avery does. He knows more about Fontaino than Avery probably even understands is going on. Fontaino for me is like almost like Kingpin. That's what he reminds me of. He has a lot of irons in the fire. He's doing a lot of things and he has his tentacles in many areas, which leads me to this. I think I think that Lillian Renashi and Michael Copper are more involved with everything going on in the Rippaverse than we know. But with a caveat, I think there's a big boss over them and there's something big coming and they're just kind of how can I say, the placeholder. They're the placeholder for the real big event that's getting ready to come and probably rock all of Flores Park. And I think Lincoln understands a lot of this stuff, knows a lot of this stuff, is familiar with a lot of this stuff, and probably has his tentacles in more things than we even understand. And I also think that he is not necessarily all on the up and up. Not Lincoln. I don't know why I said Lincoln. What's that his name? Let me see. Cause I can't remember. I gotta, it's been so long since I read that first book. And I know his name is mentioned in other books. Yes, Lincoln. Lincoln, what's his last name? Eusebio? I don't know how to say that name. Let me see. Let me get to it. Yeah. Eusebio. He is the CEO of Projexis. But I think that he's involved in more and understands more than we are told in these first couple books. And I think he's going to play. I think he's one of those dudes that he's a good guy-ish, but he has his own motives. I'm the guy school teachers warn their students about. Work hard, get good grades, and you could own a biotech company. Yeah, right? But Fontaino is far less honest of a man than I am. Still, wealth is wealth. So what's your plan? So he's trying to explain to Avery that, yeah, uh, Fontaino is an unsavory guy. He's up to no good. He has a lot of things that are not redeemable qualities, but don't underestimate him. He's involved with more things than you realize, and he has more pull and more influence than you realize. Maybe I go back to Merc this time through the front door. I'll deal with the consequences. And so Lincoln laughs. Let me give you a different perspective. He used moles to infiltrate my company, and I thought two can play that game. They don't do a good job sweeping the place. I've got direct feed of audio and visual. It's just a typical day, right? It's just a typical day right now, but the good stuff happens before and after hours. Now, if I'm Lincoln and I'm as smart as I know Lincoln is, then I would have to think to myself, did I really infiltrate his club with some surveillance, or did he allow me to infiltrate his club with surveillance? Fontaino is not dumb. Darren Fontaino is not dumb. And most kingpins and most unsavory guys are not stupid. They didn't get where they are by accident. The same amount of brilliance and intelligence that it took for Lincoln to form his company is in a lot of ways the same amount of intelligence that it took for Darren Fontaino to start up his criminal enterprise. They are, I'm not going to say they are exactly the same because they're not exactly the same, but they're not that far behind each other. It's not like you think. You would think that, yeah, there's a wide gap and a chasm between these two things, but no, there's not. So he says, for starters, I haven't seen Jasmine, and I know they're looking for you. There's been a turnover within the ranks. That sounds like an opportunity to me, and I'm already looking into it. I don't think you should return to Merc, which he's right. That's not a good idea. Don't return there. But are they being led into this next move? This madness doesn't stop until I meet him face to face. The problem is Avery at this point is still under the impression that everything can be dealt with only brute force. He really does need a wise sidekick, not necessarily somebody that goes out with him for his superhero antics, but somebody that exercises some wisdom and restraint and tactics. That's what he needs to learn. And I really do hope Avery's character builds into a tactician because I believe that would actually do him very well. I'm not saying you shouldn't meet with him. I'm saying that it shouldn't be there. He's looking to buy the refinery on the south side. He'll be there on Sunday. That seems secluded, sounds far riskier than confronting him at the club. Now, in this regard, Avery is very wise in noticing this. And I think this is where both of these men are being outsmarted to some degree by Darren Fontaino. Again, he has some level of genius with him. Even criminal masterminds have some level of genius, even though it's not on the up and up. They still have some level of genius. Quite the opposite. He has yet to make the sale. This isn't his property, so he's less likely to do something irrational while on site. But should you go, you shouldn't go alone. So he doesn't want him to go alone. But obviously, and also, I don't think Lincoln understands Fontaino. Darren Fontaino is a wild card. He will do whatever, whenever, because he feels like he is above the law and can't be touched. Guys like that are hard to read. Villains like that are hard to read because you never know what's going to happen. There's no guarantees, but it's the weekend. There will only be the businessmen in attendance. So let's discuss some ideas on how to approach this. And to me, Isom doesn't seem like the type of dude that he wants to involve somebody else in his activities. You see this when he's dealing with his ranch hands. He's kind of like, no, I got this. I don't need you guys involved. And really, Avery needs to kind of let somebody else be involved. He shouldn't do this all alone because there's things that he has not seen and there's things that he doesn't know. Okay, how are you? So we fast forward to Gooding Estate. Gooding is checking Sanford, Avery's ranch hand, who you remember got kidnapped by those beasts, was in a cave where Blood Ruth rescued him. And he's trying to figure out what are these markings on his back. So, of course, you go to the smartest guy in Flores Park, which is Mr. Gooding himself. How are you feeling? That wasn't too bad. So they're trying to, obviously, like I said, they're trying to figure out what's going on with these markings. Obviously, the markings aren't normal, but the preliminary scans don't read much of anything. You mean to tell me with all these gizmos and gadgets, that's the best you could come up with? Again, preliminary. The markings light up on occasion, but you feel nothing. Yep, no pain or anything. Interesting. Let's run through this again. In the greatest of detail, explain to me what happened. I walked into the security house, gun drawn. It was quick. I couldn't even get a round off. Disarmed me, knocked me out cold. I woke up in a cell or whatever. And you're sure whatever kidnapped you wasn't one of those beasts? Positive. That's not good. This is a multi-species alliance. This may only be the beginning. Potentially, they wanted Avery, but you're the one lighting up like a Christmas tree. It's already scabbed, and I don't have an ointment for that. I've taken my samples, but I may need to talk with Sydney Bloodruth because obviously this is something beyond scientific explanation. This goes into another realm, and this deals with something out of this realm. And I think Gooding is kind of piecing that together like, okay, there's something more to this that I don't know, and I may need Bloodruth's help to get through this. I spent the last couple of days refamiliarizing myself with that species of beast. I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing good is going to come from this. So they know, if he doesn't know anything else, he's like, look, I don't know what's going on with these markings on you, but the one thing I can tell you with these markings is nothing good is going to come of this. This is not going to be a good thing, whatever it is. This building is something big, obviously. I can't lie and tell you it'll be fine. I don't know, but I'll do everything I can to help. If you show any symptoms, contact me as soon as possible. Well, that seems serious. This way, Mr. Willard. And now you fast forward to Isom punching on a punching bag, and he's trying to think through some things because he's clearly upset at the way all of this is played out. And he feels like it is his fault for bringing everyone into this drama. And he feels like he should be able to solve it. Obviously, his mind is probably going back to what happened with that young lady who died before he, hung up the costume and gave up his superhero antics. I'm not the same. Half of what I was, if that. So he's realizing that his power is not what it once was. The fault is my own, and there's no guarantee that I can make it back. This still puts me in a rough spot. Saving Jasmine is straightforward. Getting Darren off my back is the opposite. The ones that can help me the most are the ones that I jeopardize. No matter the outcome, I'm not the hero. I'm solving this alone. He wants to go at it alone. Again, like I said, he is, Avery reminds me of an introvert, right? He wants to be off by himself, off the grid. He doesn't want anybody around him. He doesn't want to be dealing with anybody. He just wants this stuff to be done and over. So now we fast forward to this refinery and Darren Fontaino making some small talk and, trying to deal with this businessman. Many corporations have tried to take this place off my hands. My father and his father have said the same thing. But Branded Oil has remained family owned for over a century. So I have to ask, what makes you want to get in the oil and gas industry? Come on now, Jack. You know that this is where the money is. It's Texas, baby. So, Darren's a smooth talking dude. He's making everything seem on the up and normal. Come on, you know what it is. It's Texas. Oil is the way to go. Of course I want to get involved in this. You ain't want to do drilling you ain't going to do drilling yourself. Why do that? If you can just get a place that already has the infrastructure, to your point, I'm a newbie after all. So he's like, I don't need to, reinvent the wheel. You already have this business going. I will just buy this from you. Fair enough. You brought your whole squadron with you, which I respect. But we can't talk business until I show you around this place. Sorry to bother you. He says, please. Now we fast forward to, obviously Avery pulls up. This is a guy that's not really security, looks like just somebody that works there. He was pulled in for the weekend just to kind of, I guess, play security at the gate. Sorry to bother you, but mind if I ask you something? So, seems unassuming, right? Never seen you around here. To be fair, it's not like I know everybody. How can I help you? Yeah, of course. You work at a big refinery. You may see some familiar faces from time to time, but there will be faces that you have never seen. I've worked in many plants before, manufacturing plants and other places that were huge. And every now and again, you'll see a face and I'm like, I've never seen this person. And somebody will say, oh, they've worked here for, 5 or 6 years. And you're like, oh, well, I've never seen them before. My boss is in there meeting with Mr. Brandt. I'm one of his engineers. I heard there was some big meeting today. Explains why there's so many cars in the lot this weekend. I'm running late and rushed over here, but I forgot my gear. Embarrassing. You can imagine I don't want to go in there totally unprepared. You happen to have an extra jumper on you? Of course I do. But you're crazy if you think I'm just going to give it to you. They charge like heck for those. He's like, those things are expensive. So Isom pulls out a wad of cash. He pulls out a stack. But I bet it isn't worth this much. And this is where the dude is like, all right, now you got my attention. That meeting must be a big deal. I can afford to get another uniform and a nice steak dinner with this one. Hold on. So now he's going to find him that other uniform. He says, here you go. Hope that meeting goes well for you. Oh, don't forget one of these too. Gives him a hard hat. Thanks. You're a lifesaver. I don't want to mess this up. The boss put safety first. No problem. You college educated hipsters dress weird anyway. Good luck. So Avery's like, hipsters? Like, what the heck is he talking about? And, obviously the opposite of what Avery is. He's definitely not a college educated weirdo. I'm not saying everybody college educated is weirdos. I'm just saying this is Avery's thought process as we're going through the book. And that's how we run this place. Any questions? So they're done with their tour. I now understand why this is so valuable. Now, something tells me that Mr. Fontaino was expecting Isom to show up, and I believe this was all a setup. And I believe he knows that Projexis had his place wired with video and audio. I do not think Darren is a stupid man at all. I think he's actually extremely brilliant and sinister. And you'll see why I say this as this goes on. But I already assumed as much. It's not only refining, but also the oil. You're printing money, Mr. Brandt. The transfer of ownership would give you access to the network up and downstream, which Darren Fontaino probably definitely wants access to that up and downstream network, but for other reasons. Let's get back down to the office and talk business now that you understand the scale. So you fast forward over to Lincoln, and he's like, is that Lincoln? Yeah, I think it's Lincoln. Or no. I think that's actually, yeah, it is. For some reason, I was going to say it was Mr. Willard, but it's Lincoln. He says, I knew it. He's going to get himself killed. You were right. Get in there before this gets bad. Whatever happens out of this meeting, I hope we can remain in contact. Perhaps there is some other opportunities, and I'd love to pick your brain. So now here comes Avery walking up, and him and Fontaino notice each other. And Avery says, "Yeah, it's me." That wouldn't be a good idea, would it? Notice your environment. So he's like, "Yo, this is not going to work out good for you. Do you realize where you're at? Do you know your surroundings? Do you see everybody that's here? I'm not a worker of yours, Mr. Brandt. I'd ramp up the security, but I mean you no harm. Shut up. How many more times are you going to interfere with my business?" So now Mr. Fontaino is pissed. He's like, "Avery, you are at it again, interfering with something you do not understand. You've been looking for me. Here I am. You know that you crossed the line, but I'm willing to put this aside and go our separate ways." I don't even think Isom understands the degree of the wickedness that is in Darren Fontaino's heart. They went to school together, but Fontaino is on something else now. "I hear that your family's doing well. That's good to hear. I'm the one that makes the demands, and these are your options. My men will bring you back to the club where they will where you will be made an example of. It'll hurt, but you may survive. They'll be here in a second. Mr. Brandt, you'll have to excuse the interruption. Shall we continue this conversation back at your office? Get my security up here now. I don't know what's going on here, but again, I am sorry. I hope that this doesn't disrupt our negotiations. Oh, I almost forgot. Your other choice, Avery, is to die." So now Mr. Brandt hears this and he's like, "What am I getting myself involved in?" Right? This is a legit businessman. He doesn't want to be involved in something like this. Like, what are you talking about? Your only choice is to die. What is he saying? What kind of business is Darren Fontaino actually doing? What is he conducting here? "We'll be taking your answer. But the way there was a young, by the way, there was a young lady that got caught up in." "Not an answer, Silman. Reinforcements. You're all just doing your jobs, but maybe this'll make you reconsider." And so he rips off, everything. And now they see this is Isom. "It isn't Silman going forward. It's Isom." So he's like, "Yeah, prepare." And he gets sucker punched. Didn't see that coming. I will say, I do like seeing Isom in these early stages, but he is very vulnerable. He doesn't really, he doesn't have the tact. He's not a tactician like he should be at this point. "I don't know what you had planned here, but I don't take kindly to whatever this is." So this is Mr. Brandt talking to Darren Fontaino. Obviously, Fontaino doesn't like this too much, him talking to him that way. "I am as surprised as you are, but that shouldn't sour our deal. We haven't made a deal. You think you can just push your weight around when necessary, but that's not what this is. Now watch your tone. That's the problem with folk like you. You think you can walk on my property and talk to me any kind of way? I want you and your men to get out of here. You got a lot to learn about how business works." Now, Mr. Brandt has his hands on a gun under the table. Now, in a situation like this, where Darren Fontaino has said what he said to Isom, what do you do? Do you just shoot him? Most rational people would probably go, I don't know what to do. Do I just shoot this guy? He just threatened to kill this other dude. Will he let me walk out of this situation? That's probably what's going through his mind. But he hesitates, doesn't do anything. He says, all right, all right. I didn't mean to offend. Sad, I really like this place. Well, that's just too bad. But since we're exchanging advice, he turns around with a gun and shoots Mr. Brandt dead right where he stands. This is crazy. Again, this shows the depravity of Mr. Fontaino. He is a depraved dude. Never hesitate to neutralize a threat. This is crazy. He is on something else. He is a whole nother kind of, yeah. is definitely an issue. So you see Isom fighting all of these dudes, and he's really giving them the business. Now, he should be doing much better. He should be thrashing these dudes with no problem. It kind of seems like he's holding back, right? And you see him, you throwing these dudes around. Then he says, this is a pointless fight. Please let us reason. Now, Isom is doing something here that's going to affect him in a good way later on. He's not fighting to show off. He knows I'm an accept. These are regular dudes. I could pummel these guys. But he's like, yo, let's not do this. Let's actually reason. This got out of hand. There will be no victories. There will be no victories if this continues to escalate. Tell him to call this off. Stop putting up a fight and come with us if you want this to end. You heard the man. Your only other option is to lose your life. So Isom flees. They're calling him a coward, but that's not really the point. He's like, I know where this ends. This doesn't go anywhere good. And this is not what I want this situation or how I want this situation to turn out. And just when you think he was going to get away, he gets grabbed up by something, which is the tongue of Leprido. And Leprido says, you showed up just to run away? And Isom's like, what the? So he shoots his tongue out. Isom grabs his tongue, punches him in the face, and he says, you were the weakling he was so worked up about? So obviously Isom's punch, it got him, but it wasn't really powerful. So he shot his tongue out, wrapped Isom around. Let's get this over. And he tossed Isom into what looks like a stack in the oil refinery. I guess this is some kind of processing tube for the petroleum. So he says, do it. But why would we? I said, do it. The deal is off. And he has no use for this place. So he's ready to he's saying that Fontaino doesn't really care about the place now. He doesn't care if it's destroyed. He has no use for it. So what was he really up to with it? What was he looking for? They shoot a bullet into this refinery stack and it explodes while Isom is on it. So this is not looking good. So he says, holy, wasn't expecting all that. We need to get out of here. The cops will surely show up. So Leprido says, doubt it. There's nothing else around for miles. Why do you think he wanted this place? What the heck is this? You said the deal was off. That doesn't mean forget it. Did y'all get what I asked for? I do not fail. That was Leprido's response. Pure, uncured Metrox. Incredible. This right here, gentlemen, will change our lives. The backbone of our operation. Isn't that isn't what takes place between the walls, it's the real estate that has its limitations. If we can couple that with resources, we could quadruple our revenue while entering into an everlasting industry. Things didn't work out here, but there will be other opportunities. We just, So somebody is tossed. Who shows up but Santwan? Wasn't expecting this. I've yet to be compensated for the previous job. So Santwan is like, hey man, I want my money. You didn't compensate me for that other job. Thanks for keeping me in the group chat. There's no telling how many of your men are unconscious up front. So that's how you got here. You need to pay what is owed. After our screw ups, I've decided to let you walk away with your life. That's your payment. Not good enough. Fool. You think I'm just going to let you walk away? Handle this. This will be quick, Leprido speaking. The entire place could blow up any minute. A lizard with pants? You look ridiculous. Santwan is like, what the heck? And so here it is. They start to brawl, and Santwan is actually kind of getting handled. Leprido is no joke. He's giving him the business, beating the brakes off of him. But then Santwan starts fighting back, and you see, okay, this might be an equal battle. But Leprido, he has the upper hand with that tongue, and it looks like he's stronger. So he says, formidable, but today you die. And Santwan tells him to shut the up. He's like, I'm not trying to hear none of that. So now we fast forward to Fontaino. Boys, it looks like you bagged 2 bodies. That reptile will be all right. The deal fell through, but at least we got rid of a couple of problems. So here comes Santwan out of the fire. Tried to keep you in there, but you wouldn't cooperate. Gator bites don't sound too bad. Gator, you stupid. What do you need another job? Stop the foolishness. I'm a businessman like you. I moved on to better opportunities, so I'm good. You ain't nothing but a pawn. Don't ever compare yourself to me. So clearly, Santwan has made business with somebody else. And now who shows up? Jasmine. And this does not go quite how you think it's going to go. And it looks like Jasmine has powers. So we thought Jasmine was this helpless person in all of this, but it turns out that this goes much deeper. I like this turn. I love this turn because I was not expecting this myself. There you are. What's this I hear about you? Please. I was just about to handle this my way. Before we get out of here, I think it's time that we clue in the crew. And so now again, you see Santwan ripped out of there and tossed by Leprido. Leprido really has something for Santwan. He doesn't like a fight where he's bested, so he's got something against him. Gentlemen, I know this isn't the most ideal place to have this conversation, but listen up. I haven't been entirely honest with you, but it's not like you're going to do anything about it. He's such a gangster. The lovely lady here will be one of our greatest assets. As you can see, she has some very unique abilities. Remember what uh I told you all earlier? That's only part of the plan. There are plenty of businessmen out there that focus on natural resources, but they don't have her. When resources age, they become more or less valuable. This is why Jasmine here offers us the greatest resource known to man, time. So clearly, she has some kind of, I'm assuming, time manipulation. That's what I'm going to assume. So now we fast forward back to this battle between Santwan and Leprido, and it's not going good for Santwan. Leprido is again commences to beating the brakes off Santwan, and he's punching his face into the ground pretty much. And you see where he has a question mark because somebody has grabbed his hand. Who is it? You, you're like a roach. It's Isom. He takes him and he tosses him. Today is not the day that I die. And now Isom is getting busy, and I've been waiting for this. This is that breakout where Isom just goes straight crazy. And now he's beating the brakes off Leprido, and it looks like Leprido doesn't know what hit him. Isom is pouncing on this dude, jumping on this dude, tossing this dude. Yo, his powers, they seem to be at peak right now. He's really going in. What the? And now he's dragging Leprido, looking like a boss. I love this. He's just taking care of business. Hey, all right, I'm sick of this. Hold on. You got 1 minute, then I'm blowing his head off. I got this all wrong. I can't believe you're working alongside him. So he had no idea that Jasmine was working with Fontaino the whole time. I mean, why wouldn't I? And your mother has no idea. I'm grown. But I should be the one lecturing you. Look at the mess you've caused. You've made life difficult for yourself and your family, all because you wanted to be a nosy hero. But I'll tell you this, Silman, you died an honorable death. That's quite the saying she had for him. So imagine that you failed as a man and now you failed as a hero. That's cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. Let it down and move out of the way quickly. So she let down the field. Isom pushed, kind of body shoved Fontaino at the way as he's shooting his shots. You'd had better do that thing. What? So she puts up the shield. Are you crazy? I want this dead. And you'll kill me in the process? Yes. I'm sorry. So now she's beginning to see the absolute savagery and barbarity of Darren Fontaino. He doesn't care about anybody. Anybody he could use to get his way, he'll do it. I was foolish. You didn't need saving. I'll concede that much. So Isom is like, yeah, you didn't need saving. I was not looking into this situation fully. And this is where you figure out that Isom should learn how to do some detective work ahead of time before jumping into something. This is why he needs some kind of sidekick, in my opinion. This was never my business to begin with, but I'm not the only one learning a lesson here, am I? So now she's learning that Fontaino is not really as friendly as she thinks, and she's as much of she's as expendable as anybody in his operation. You're not as valuable to this man as you think you are. Disposable, all of you. As for the both of you, I'll leave you with something special. Should you come for me and my family, you'll at least know this. Fear not of my strength. The how is what you should be worried about. And this is where Isom is beginning to realize his power and what he's capable of. And he says, pride got in the way for the both of us. I can at least say I attempted to do good. Shut up with the philosophical. This ain't philosophical. God showers us with his blessings. I'm especially mindful of this. And that's why I can't be contained with these silly tricks. It'll only empower me. Catch street, his signature phrase. He punches the ground and they all go absolutely flying. You see, and I don't even think this is the peak of Isom's powers. And the source of his powers and how far they go, I think, have a lot to do with his faith and who he trusts. Whether he trusts himself, or whether he has pride in himself, or whether he trusts God and does what's right for the right reasons. No matter how you move, you're not invulnerable. And Fontaino says, F you. Who sent you? Nobody. This is business. I didn't expect you to turn on Darren, at least not that fast. So now is in this a full circle moment where he's saving Santwan. What happened? Don't overthink it. I stick to the terms of the contract. He expected me to act outside of the scope of the agreement. He fooled himself into believing that he had my loyalty or allegiance. Nobody has that. You must know that he'll want to settle this with the both of us. It won't be immediate, but you had better be on alert. Still, I thank you for your assistance. And then you see him, on the ground with a thud. As difficult as it may be, Matthew reminds us, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Isom is realizing there are certain things he has to do, and he has to keep his heart right. You humiliate me and think you can just walk away. Leprido is not giving in. He definitely wants his comeuppance. Allow me to show you my true nature. Let's see how you like. Shut up. And in comes Max. I think that was his name from the beginning of the book. Let me go back because now I can't. The agent that was on hand. I think that's who shows up. See how fast I forgot that name. That's how quick my memory is. Not a steel trap like some people. Yeah, Max Saliant. I think that's who shows up, and he tells Leprido, Shut up. Stomps his head right into the ground. You're still a cocky old fool. This isn't a cartoon. Trying to power up only leaves you vulnerable. You must be Avery. Lincoln failed to mention your attire. Anyway, tell him I appreciate the tip. I'll take it from here. So this is who Lincoln called. By the way, full authority of J. Sully, by the full authority of J. Sully Ward, you're being detained. So now he got, they're getting Leprido, putting him back in the cell. So now Isom shows up to this place. Hey, may I help you? And he goes to punch him, and he punches Isom. You have some nerve. You have some nerve, you son of a... Robert, stop. Why didn't you save her? So this is the father of the girl that Isom didn't save. This is why he quit being a superhero. I'm sorry. We should talk. Please come inside. And it tells you see Isom number 2. And he says, the last vision I had of my daughter was a lifeless body and an unforgettable face. This city is full of people with power, but you're more trouble than you are of a help. You attract monsters, and one of them killed my baby girl. You failed. You could have saved her. Why should I not return the favor? Robert, it's all right. You're not wrong. I did fail in more ways than one. The burden you bear is far greater than I can imagine. I'm not here to make any excuse, nor do I want to be bothersome. So he has a gun. He's super mad. Of course, his daughter died and Isom couldn't save her. You'd be mad too. It wasn't just the death. It would have meant so much to us if you came to the funeral. You vanished. And when we never heard from you again, it was like she was just another casualty and we were abandoned. No answers, nothing. I'm sorry. If it's all right with you, I'd like to remain in contact in a much different way. My life also changed with the death of your daughter. I just wanted to stop by and tell you that I'll be active in searching for answers. It won't be overnight. It may take years. So he wants to find out what happened, and it ends with you seeing him, Showdown. This is the one who killed this man's daughter. And Avery means to find justice for his daughter. Now you fast forward, we're here with Gooding. He says, how did you do it? Do what? Obviously, it didn't take me long to find out your heroic moniker. It's the how that remains a mystery. But I have my theories. Let's hear it. The tip is in the name. It's all in your movement. Isom, she has arrived. So I think he was going to say isometric, thinking that has something to do with his powers. Thanks. Bring her in. Am I close? Somewhat, but it's a lot more to it than that. This is not good. What do you mean? The cave, it's barren. It's like they were never there. That's actually good news. How? The beasts are just a controlled subspecies. They aren't harmless, but they're only pawns. These guys are capable of interdimensional travel. I'm assuming that's how they relocated. Sydney, you've never dealt with them because they aren't supposed to be here. Based on their historic patterns, this wasn't random. So we need to know, what did they want with you? They wanted Isom, but why? And to be continued. I was going to end and not go over the whole book, but as I started reading, I was just like, man, this book is so good. I'm just going to keep going. This is one of my favorite, if not as of right now, my favorite Rippaverse book. Isom is very intriguing. I love how he introduced the entire world to the Rippaverse comic book universe. I love that first book. So anyway, hope you enjoyed.